Hello my darlings, this is my December TBR video. Firstly, I want to say a thing. This will probably be the last time that my TBR is formatted in this way. I am currently working on a new way to do this because this rigid TBR thing is not working. So I have a kind of a intricate thing that I'm working on that I will debut in January. Anyway, so for the month of December, Dos Equis, I want a beer. Anyway, for the month of December, I kind of have a theme, but not really. We're just gonna go with it. So since I live in Colorado, darling, and it is 30 degrees here at the moment, which is nowhere near as cold as it gets, and it's not snowing yet, which I'm kind of in shock by, but I want to get into that winter spirit, yes. So I am reading books that give me kind of a wintry feel, whether it's through the setting or the cover or just whatever. I stretched it to within an inch of its life. First up, I have Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. This is a companion novel to the Daughter Smoke and Bone trilogy. This is Susanna's romance. I love Susanna. I love her a lot. A lot. She is one of my favorite characters. I love her just as much as Carol, however you want to say her name. I love them just as much, and so I'm really excited actually to kind of have a book that is just her, even though it's not a very big one and it will be a quick read. But this one is just mostly the colors, like barring the pink. It's very wintry, yes. And she's just quirky and snarky and fun and attitudinal. Why wouldn't I like her? Then I have The Last Namsara, which if you haven't watched my Fairy Loot box, I was super fucking stoked. Super stoked to find this, because I've been looking for it, and I'm in love with this cover. And it's got like badass dragon slaying weapon assassin women. Yeah. So, of course, the cover, it looks all like ashy, wintry, and I was just going to read it in December regardless. I just opened it yesterday, and I need it. This is by Christian Citrelli, and the little tagline, which I also love, says, "Some stories are too dangerous to be told." And then on the back, Destroyer, Deathbringer, Dragon Slayer. I am more weapon than girl. Yeah. And it's all like snowy looking. I don't know that it was meant to look all snowy. Maybe it's supposed to be ash, like she just burned some shit to the ground. But today it's snow. Then I have Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis. This is a little sci-fi-esque Snow White retelling. So in this one, Essie, who is our Snow White, I'm guessing, because you can never be too sure about these things, lives on this basically frozen tundra of a planet where Dane crash lands on her planet, and she goes out to help him and then accidentally gets embroiled in like an interplanetary war. And then look at the cover. It looks like not really looks like a motherboard, but it does. It is. That's what the little apple is. And it's got a poisonous queen in it. So I'm super excited about it. It is by R.C. Lewis. I've had it for quite a while, but I was purposefully saving it for December. And I love retellings. I live for retellings. I love them. I am currently sitting in front of my retelling shelf that spills over into another shelf. That's how much I love them. Then we have Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett, which I got in a Fairy Loot box quite a while ago, I believe. Was it Fairy Loot or Alcrate? She can't remember. This one is about, what is her name? I can't remember. Camden, who basically wants to be one of the world's greatest explorers. Her sister is older than her. There's quite an eccentric, well-known explorer, River, who comes to the town where she lives, and everybody thinks because her sister is older and that thus better, that her sister's going to get picked to go on this journey, but she doesn't. Instead, Camden does. And Camden can't really concentrate on trying to prove herself because her sister has gone off with a rival explorer, and Camden's now worried about protecting her instead of keeping her eyes, heart, and head on protecting herself. Apparently there are like ice chasms and ghosts and dragons and witches, and it is a fantasy. I know that summary didn't sound very fantasy-like, but I ain't gonna lie, I didn't read down that far into it because I don't like to do that. So I apologize. The summary's not that good, but that's all I know. The cover is in the mountains and very wintry. Then I have the Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, which when I bought it, I kind of intended to save it for the winter months because of the color. This is when I was still determined to do a theme every month. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about this one either. I just know that it is sci-fi-esque, which made me want it anyway. Basically, since I've started BookTube, it is about Nemesis, who is a Diabolic. She is genetically enhanced, and her job is basically to protect. Her job or purpose, or whatever you'd like to call it, is to protect Sidonia, and she will be ruthless and kill anybody that she has to protect this girl that she grew up with. That is all that I know about it, and that is all I care to know about it until I read it. But I've been in love with this cover since this damn thing came out. Then I have God's Grave by J. Kristoff, which is the sequel to Nevernight by J. Kristoff, which I will be finishing here in the next couple of days. And then hopefully buddy reading this with Katie from Read A Rot and Leanna from Leanna's Library. And it's just a wintry-ish kind of cover. Then I have 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston, which is kind of another 1,001 Nights retelling-ish. Not quite the same, This is not quite the same as The Wrath and the Dawn. I believe this one is more fantasy than The Wrath and the Dawn was, but I'm super excited to read it, and I just really love that cover. I just have to, this blurb though on the back. She that he chose of us would be a hero. She would give the others life. Lomelkeen, I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, would not return to the same village until he had married a girl from every camp, from every town, and from every district inside city walls. For that was the law, struck in desperation though it was. She that he chose would give hope of a future, of love, to those of us who stayed behind. She would still be dead. So that, can't wait. Then I have The Coldest Girl in Code Town by Holly Black. This one, I mean, do I really need to explain why that's Wintery? And it's got vampires. It is YA. I'm kind of nervous because after The Darkest Part of the Forest, it was very YA, and it was in like a high school setting, which I really don't tend to like them in high school settings. But she's supposed to be a very good author, and I've bought several of her books. I have them. I may as well read them. Also, I've been really wanting to read this. It's got really good reviews from people whose channels I've watched that have read it. And vampires. This is kind of like more when I get into my shifters and vampires and paranormal, and it's cold. It starts in the fall, and then it just carries on to spring. Don't ask questions. Code Town was dangerous, Tana knew. A glamorous cage, a prison for the damned and anyone who wanted to party with them. That was read horribly, but that's the blurb on the back. But like I said, it's got vampires. I read like the first couple pages just to make sure it wasn't gonna like frustrate the shit out of me, and it looks like I will enjoy it. Like it opened up at a party or after a party, so we'll see. I don't know if it's high school, college, and we'll find out. Then I have The Bite Before Christmas by Lindsay Sands and Janine Frost. Janine Frost, who writes the Night Hunter series, which I thoroughly enjoy. Lindsay Sands writes a lot of the vampire romances that I have. They're more on the kitschy side of the paranormal, but I still thoroughly enjoy them. Obviously this is Christmas themed, and it is an anthology or bind up or whatever you want to call it of 2 Christmassy paranormal books featuring The Gift by Lindsay Sands, in which our main character Teddy, who is human, gets snowed in with Patricia Argino. The Arginos are the vampire family that Lindsay Sands' series kind of follows, and it's a romance. I mean, like the human and the vampire get snowed in. What do you think will happen? And then there is Home for the Holidays by Janine Frost, which has a companion novel for the Night Hunter series featuring Cat and Bones. Cat and Bones have very like turmoil-filled, excitement-filled, just dramatic lives, and so in this novella, I guess it is, they are just thoroughly looking forward to being able to enjoy each other and the holidays, but it's a vampire hunter and her vampire hunting a vampire husband, so that's not likely to happen. I'm super excited to read it though, because I like both of these authors. I like paranormal and they're Christmas themed. I do like Christmas themed romances. Don't judge me. They get me in the holiday spirit better, since the last couple of holidays for me have been poo-poo. And then lastly, I have Gathering of Shadows by V. Schwab, which I had it kind of last minute. It's not really wintry colored, but kind of I guess it is if you want to think it's Christmassy colored. It's red. I just really would like to get through the series, so If you have not read the Darker Shade of Magic series by B.E. Schwab, there are Londons, but there are 4 Londons, and each London has different, like, magical aspects to them. There's, like, White London, Red London, Black London, etc., and Grey London also. Then there is Kel, who is one of the few people who can travel between the Londons, use magic in these parallel Londons. There, I think, is 1 or 2 other people who can do so besides Kel, but Kel is one of the best. And in Darker Shade of Magic, he came into possession of this thing, this dangerous thing that we left off, and he was traveling. He was getting ready to travel between the Londons to return it to where it goes before all hell breaks loose. That's all I'm going to tell you, because if you haven't read that, then you will be spoiled, and that is where I've left off going into A Gathering of Shadows, which I have not read a summary for. I just know it's a sequel, so I want to read it. I don't want to know. Summaries lately, to me, are getting a little too spoilery for what I like to know going into books, so that's what I know. That is 10 that I just held up, not including Night, which I need to finish, Days of Blood and Starlight, which I need to finish, and Malfunction, which I need to finish. It's still November while I'm filming this, so hopefully these will all be finished within the first week of December, and then I will get to these 10. Which is really not that bad, because I read last month 14 books. A lot of them were paranormal romances and urban fantasy, but I can read about a book a day if I just sit down and do it and don't get distracted. So hopefully these are all books that I'm really excited about, so I shouldn't be deviating from this TBR too much like I have been doing, but we'll see. That is it for my December TBR. There will be cool announcements in January about how I'm changing this whole TBR process up. You'll see. You'll see. So that's all I got for now, guys. I will catch you all later. So thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye.